Hello, welcome to this lesson on drawing the tree of life. My name's Katia Somerville. I am a tattoo artist, and it's my pleasure to inspire you to draw today. So, this is sort of what we're drawing. It's a version of it. I have another version that I did live on Insight Timer, and you can see they're quite different. And a lot of people that have drawn this, it's always different. So, let's get started. See what happens on our page today. So you'll need a compass, a ruler, pen, pencil, and eraser today. It's helpful to have different pens that are different sizes. And let's get your page on the screen. I will just get the controls open so I can zoom it out and in here. Here we are. All right, so this is zoomed out as far as it will go right now. I'll move the camera back just a bit. So the first step with your ruler is to find the center of the page. So how we do that is take your ruler, line it up to the bottom here, and measure 0 centimeters. Mine's just about 23, so I'm going to move it over so it's 22, so it's easier to find. I mean, there's a little bit on each side. There's about 4 millimeters on each side. If it's not perfectly centered, it's not the end of the world. Find 11. The center, and then line the bottom of the ruler up with the top. Make sure the top's lined up as well. And draw one line down the center of the page like so. Let's find the very center of that line while the ruler's there. And mine is 30, so it's about right here. Drawing a little dot to mark the center. And next step is to take the compass, and we're going to start this page by drawing the circle that goes around the tree. So make your compass as big as the page so it can still fit on it to create our big circle. Here we are, and get the circle on the page. I'll try to get mine dark so you can see it better. It will be erased later, so if yours isn't that dark, that's okay too. And the second step is to get the seed of life, which is the basis of the design called the flower of life. And how to do that is to take the ruler and measure the circle to the middle of the end of the circle to the middle of the circle, the radius, which is 10 for me. So I'm going up 3 centimeters. So about a third, maybe a little bit less. 10, oh, that's 2. No wonder it looked small. From the center. And from there, we will measure our compass so that it fits from the circle, the middle of the circle, to that mark you just did, and put the pointy end of the compass on the top point and draw your first circle so that it goes through the middle of that big circle. So this is going to turn out to be one big seed of life. A seed of life is a really beautiful symbol, represents interconnectedness and unity. Okay, so from here, we will draw another circle. Mine's just going outside of our huge circle, which is completely fine. If you want it to stay in the huge circle, you can either draw another huge circle around it or make this measurement a little bit smaller. But I'm okay with going outside a little bit there with my tree. All right, so now where those two circles line up, what we have here, this is called the Vesica Pisces. It's two circles overlapping each other. Each are exactly the same size. And it's called Vesica Pisces, which is a circle dividing itself into another circle. It represents the union of masculine and feminine. And you can see if you do a diamond in this shape here, it's called a Vesica diamond. It's also a good way of making two equilateral triangles on each side here. But I do talk a lot more about the seed of life, the Vesica Pisces, and the next symbol, if we draw another circle where those two match up, now we've got another circle, so 3 circles. This is called the tripod of life or the triquetra. And we talk about all the significance of this in my Seed of Life lesson, mandala lesson. Let's draw a fourth circle. Now the Seed of Life has 7 circles in total that overlap. So we're going around that original circle where each one matches it. So now we've got half of the Seed of Life in front of us. We've got 2 more to go. So let's draw our 6th circle. It's starting to make a nice flower. Making sure your compass doesn't change size. I think mine just changed size there. So it's okay if it's not 100% perfect too. I'm going to go a little bit smaller with that one. And it's okay if you make these circles a little thicker. And the last line is on the top left. Now I've got a nice big Seed of Life. This will mark the tree's branches going over top of this. I'll zoom in a little bit for you. Oh, sorry about the focus there. There we go. Nice big Seed of Life on our page. And zoom out a little bit. Perfect. If you need to pause this to make your Seed of Life, please do so. Okay, so from here, we're going to now draw our trunk. Now, a way to do that is we're just going to set up where the trunk goes and then put on our DNA strand. So on each side of the center line, let's measure about 1 centimeter on each side. I'm also going to measure 1 centimeter on each side. A little bit further down, so we got a straight line. And draw a straight line down the page from the Seed of Life. This will be, it's going to map out where our trunk is. From here, we will draw the DNA strand. So the DNA strand can start in the very center of the mandala, so it's going to be right here. I'm actually going to draw this trunk up tiny little bit, but it's up to you. You don't have to do this. And it's also not going to come down all the way either. My pencil fell. I've got another one. Because we can't forget the roots. But anyway, you can sort of imagine this being a tree. Right now it looks like a lollipop. So this point here, if we turn this into the Kabbalah Tree of Life, which is a popular tree of life in the Kabbalah. So the Tree of Life, it has 10 nodes. Now, each node represents a different deity, and each deity represents a different has a different representation. So, let's start with we just did the middle one, which is called Tipperet, which represents beauty. So that's a good thing to start our DNA strand from, the beauty of everything interconnected. So let's come down from the beauty node of the Kabbalah Tree of Life and start our DNA strand. Now I'm going to go all the way over here this way first, doubling up the line like so, and coming down and maybe making it a little bit thicker at the top. Actually, there were my pencils around today. There, I got the original one. It's a little bit thicker where it goes wider, and then coming down, making it small, little twisty, coming this way of the tree, twisting again. I'm going really small at the bottom. Every time I do this, it always turns out so differently. I'm going to come down the outside. I'm going to come outside of the tree. This looks really cool. It almost looks like a snake. And if you want to make yours into a snake, feel free. So let's do the other side, coming down from Beauty. Now it goes the other way, flowing with the hand. Don't grip your pencil too hard. Twisting it the opposite direction. And then doubling up this line as well. Going smaller at the bottom and bigger at the top. Cool. Now you can see that DNA strand comes down the tree. Now let's draw our little connectors. Usually there's around 5 on each little section, but if you don't have enough space for it, you can do even 4 or 3. And doubling these ones up if you wish. And at the bottom, I'm just sort of going to let it crumble away. So now the DNA strand is on there. Oh, if you need more time, of course, feel free to pause this. And it can be perfected with the pen afterwards. So just quickly touching on the different parts of the Kabbalah Tree of Life. The seed of life, if we keep this pattern going, it becomes the flower of life. If you add 19 circles to it, we already have 7. This is what the flower of life looks like. And this pattern can be repeated infinitely. This is what the tree of life looks like if you use the flower of life to find it. But you can also find it through the seed of life. So you can see we've done the middle one here. And then down here is this one, and that one represents, where's that paper? There it is. That one represents Yesod, foundation, and then at the very bottom here, this one represents Malkuth, or the kingdom. So that's 3 at the bottom. And then coming down here, this one represents Netzach, endurance or victory. And then up to this one, compassion, that's Yesed. And then at the top right is Chokmah, wisdom. The very top, we skip one, this is Dath, it doesn't have a node. The very top is the crown, or Kether, and then here, I might not put these in this drawing, but you can if you'd like to. Bina, understanding, Garuda, discernment, and the bottom left is Hod, which is the deity of splendor. So you can put those nodes in your tree if you want to. You can see I've done that with this one that I just finished recording for you, but then there was no sound. That was fun. It's very hidden though. They're sort of just balls that I put them playing with the tree branches. The balls are sort of sitting in the tree branches, which I like. This one here, I used my gel pen, my white, and sort of made the balls. So it's very subtle. On this side I made them white, and on this side I made them black. I think I'm going to skip it on this tree though. I'm going to erase it. Okay, good for us. Now we've got the DNA strand, the seed of life. Now it's time for the actual tree. So this is not going to be a straight tree. This was just here so that we sort of knew where to go with it. Thinking about the roots, let's take this tree and make the tree twisty. So I'm going to go this way with the tree and then take my roots out from here. Remember, it goes thicker at the bottom, but keeping it fairly thick so the branches has something substantial to grab onto. So this is sort of my twistiness of the tree. Of course, it doesn't not have to look like mine. Make it look however you would like. And from here, let's start with the roots. Now, sort of like let go your pencil a little bit so it's not so tight. Do let a little bumps on it. And I like the way it looks if mine comes out of the circle. Do a little like tendrils at the end if you want to, but make sure it gets thicker as it goes into the tree. And then another one. These can have little bumps and make them kind of fun. Have them come around each other in strange ways if you want to. Now remember, this is all individual. No one's tree is going to look the same. I'm going to come down this way now through the DNA strand. I'll work on the details of that later with pen. And over here, little tendrils. And do your best, but remember that no one's will look the same. And every time I do this, it looks completely different. Now, sit back and look at your tree roots and see if they look, if you're happy with them. I think this is just too much of a gap, so I'm going to bring it down, make it a little bit smaller. Have some come up a little higher than others, like this one. And maybe not twist this in quite so much. And this one too. Have the little tendrils come. Now when we use pen, we can always perfect this. There, I think I'm happy with that. Pause the video if you need to. And there's my tree branches, or my tree roots. Now let's do the branches. The branches are fun too, but it's also challenging. The things to remember is not worrying too much. Don't do so many bumps on the branches as you did. Get the main branches in there first, and then we can do the tendrils after. Now, thinking about where the main chunk of the tree is, and always go smaller at the ends and bigger near the main trunk of the tree. I sort of did like a half circle here, so I sort of know where to stop, and then some can come in. More if you want to, and some can start out more. Try not to do a tree branch that goes straight up. Usually you don't see tree branches that go straight up, although this is your picture, so if you want to, go right ahead. And I'm making mine sort of end around the same distance between the outer circle. This always looks different for me too. Don't worry if it looks like a weird octopus or sea creature. Just do your best. And we'll fix it up later when we do it with pen. Nice. I left a little chunky bit here. Some bits are smaller, thinner, some are thicker on this side. Beautiful. And I want to now mention the background. The background can be however you'd like it to be. Now let me zoom this in a little bit for you. I've suggested in the past adding astrological signs in the background for your families, the family tree. You can also add your life path number, -7, You can add your water symbol, or your water, fire, earth, air symbol, your element. Mine is fire, but I like all of the symbols, so I'm going to put them all in. Fire is a triangle pointed up. Water is a triangle pointed down. Air is a triangle pointed up with a line like that. And earth is a triangle pointed down with a line like that. So I sort of like the fact. I also love the number 11. So I'm going to put the number 11 in there. I've done astrological signs with my other ones, so this one I want to stick to numbers and elements. Whatever you would like. Some people have added landscapes, put mountain scenes back here, put a moon, which could be nice. Just freehanding, half a circle, and then another half a circle in the middle. Maybe you want a sunshine in there on the other side. Another half a circle. Remember, it's not about perfection. And then just throw some rays out. Since my tree didn't go all the way. Oh, sorry, I couldn't see the moon. There you go. All right, this is my sketch. Now it's time to take the pen. And as we draw with pen, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about the tree of life. So, starting with the pen, I'm starting with a 08 right here, nice thick one, and I want to make the tree outline pretty thick so that it will stand out from the background. Now my 8 pen is a little bit dying, so I'll grab another one. There's one. I'm pretty sure I have a 10 or a 12 pen as well. Let's see if I can find it. A 7. A 1. Well, I'll just use the other 8. Now I'm lost, which is the 8 that didn't work as well. Only one way to find out. Ah, this one's good. Now, when you go and draw the ends of the branches, try to make your pen a little bit thinner, and you can go your own way if you want to. You don't have to go the way of the pencil. Use your intuition and have fun with it. Be free with it. You can go around and over other branches if you want to. This one's gonna come off all weird like that. Okay, so a few facts about the tree of life. A lot of you sort of know about the tree of life maybe through the Genesis story in the Bible with the Adam and Eve. Well, they ate the fruit from the tree of knowledge, but the tree of life was supposedly still in that garden. And if they ate the fruit of that, it would have granted them immortality. So the snake was there to guard them against eating the fruit that would make them immortal. That's the story-ish of the Bible. In science, the tree of life stands for, it's a metaphor for connection between the diversity of all life on Earth. The connection of it, of how everything on Earth is connected. Maybe I'll now start with my big, thickly outlined DNA strand, since it actually is in the closest to the foreground. Now I'm having fun. Sometimes I'm outlining the tree branches, sometimes I'm outlining the DNA strand. Skipping around a bit if you get tired of doing one thing or you're not in the flow of doing one thing. Mix it up. I said I wasn't going to draw the nodes of the Kabbalah tree of life that I was talking about this time, but I am going to do that middle one, which represents beauty. Some people look at the tree of life as a connection between the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. Like, for example, in Norse mythology, some of you might be aware of or have heard of the tree Yggdrasil. I'm not so sure how to say it. Yggdrasill. It's an enormous tree in the Norse stories. And it's the tree where the god Odin hung himself in order to gain mystical knowledge and to start over after the War of the Gods. Oh, I forgot to mention with the DNA strand, to make sure to go over, under, over, under. So I went under. Oops. Well, I can always... This one goes under, this one goes under, this one. I went under. Okay, well, might be a good time to use the white pen if you have one. And draw one over. And then under, and then over. And then under and over. Keeping them more in a connected way. The Native American Navajo people, they worshipped the maize, the corn trees, I guess, or plants, and also the cedar trees. In Africa, they worship the baobab tree, which is said to have magical powers. The Mayans worshipped the ceiba tree, among others, I'm sure. And if you have any information you'd like to share about magical trees, please write down in the comments. There is actually said to be an actual tree of life in the world. It is here. I found the information fascinating. I'll just look it up here for you. Here it is, so I can remember. It's an Arabic country, Bahrain, and it's in the middle of a desert, this tree, and it's defying all... It's just a very mysterious tree, defying what we think about trees, because all preconceptions, what we think, because there's no water sources anywhere, yet the tree is thriving in the middle of a desert, all by itself. People come from all around, miles and miles, to see this tree in the Bahrain desert. And it's been there for over 500 years. So it's kept scientists stumped. It's grown and thrived into a 32-foot mesquite tree. Even, I'm not so sure how to say that word, even where there is no water source in sight. So I thought that was fascinating. My favorite tree, it's a good question. I love cedar. I also love fig trees. Now, a fig tree was said to be the type of tree known as the Bodhi tree that the Buddha sat under to gain enlightenment. Now, when your roots go through the DNA strand, just be careful there. You can hear the crows in the background. It's perfect for drawing this tree of life right now. I don't know if you can hear them. I live in Vancouver, Canada. favorite things is to inspire people to be creative. I feel that creativity is so good for people, so good for the soul. And drawing this tree, like, look at what I'm doing with the branches, just going with the pencil, flowing with it, having fun with it, not worrying so much about what it looks like, because trees are all different. And this will have your unique signature on it. Using pen is so fun. It's like a commitment. It's a thrill. I'm committing. There. And don't forget to do your, if you have symbols in the background, with pen as well. I also love the number 22. Maybe I'll throw that. No, I'm going to keep it 3 per side. Well, let's do that sunshine. I'm going to do the sun rays as dashes. You want to go all the way with the rays, be my guest. I'm just going to stop them there. But use a ruler if you go all the way to the end and go behind the tree. Or you can go in front. I mean, it is up to you. And the moon. My moon's a little wonky. Oh well. Maybe I'll color the moon in solid black, so I think I am going to. I have a bigger pen for this. Wrong side. That way I can sort of manipulate my moon to be more circular. You can also use the compass to draw the moon, keeping it more circular. More circular. Or you can just be an artist and say, it's good enough. Not perfect, but neither am I. I love this white pen. I might have to go over it again after it dries, because like, you can't really use the white pen when the ink is still unless you just leave the ink for a little bit. And then you can go over again. Okay, we're almost ready to use the eraser. Let's do the seed of life in the background. I'm going to do little dots for it, coming behind the tree. Now, the tree of life represents, first of all, connection between everything, individuality. All trees are different, but they're all connected to everything. The earth, the universe, other trees, other plants. Just like humans, too. We're all different, but we're still all part of the same family. Everything on this planet. That's why I love geometric shapes. They all sort of remind me of that interconnected feeling. We are not alone. We're individual, but we're not alone. The tree of life represents the family. You know, they have family trees with branches that come out. And cycles of life, growth, birth, growth, and eventually, well, nothing lasts forever. Yes, I'm going outside the circle here with this. It's kind of fun dotting. It's so easy. The tree of life can represent personal growth as well. Growing throughout the stages. And the beauty that can be found at each stage of life. The trials you go through, the strength. Trees are very resilient, or they can be, or they can be frail, and they can go through a myriad of different stages. Okay, last but not least, let's get the circle outlined. Now, if you have a compass where the pen can fit inside of it, might be easier than trying to freehand the circle. I'm going to attempt it. I didn't for the last picture. I used a DNA strand. It was actually pretty fun to go around the circle with the DNA strand, which we learned how to draw. So feel free to do that. Yes, that last picture I showed you, I just recorded it for this class, and the sound didn't work, so I had to redo it. Well, this is me redoing it. That's why I'm going so fast. But you can pause it and catch up. And you can also take your time and add your own magic to it. Now, feel free to double up this outer line if you want to, make it thicker, whatever you would like. Helps to turn the page. As soon as this outline is drawn, then we can use the eraser. It's so satisfying to use the eraser. There we go. Oh, I think I'm missing a few dots. No, I'm not. All right, eraser time. This is fun. Get all the pencil marks off and see what we have. There we go. There's the picture coming to life. Love it. Now in this one I am going to draw part of it in solid black. So if you want to join me, take your thicker pen, and I'm going to do the side where the moon is. So try to get always thinner at the ends. You can also use colors here. or just do the whole thing with swirl spirals like I did the last one, which you think you saw. I showed it a bunch of times, but here it is again. The complete spiral tree. This will be more of a contrast, yin-yang balance tree. Because life is full of its shadows as well as its light. In the Celtic religion, they had a tree that they would associate with the underworld, with people after they passed away. They would monumentize, give monuments to the tree, honoring the people that have passed away. Definitely is a lot faster solid black than all the little spirals, but the little spirals sure look cool. It's worth it if you have the time and the patience. If you don't, that's okay too. You can even just do this tree all solid black if you'd like to. Okay, I'm gonna go inside some of these DNA strands. Can't believe it's only been 34 minutes. I'm gonna go inside this one as well. I'm flying through today, or this class. Nice. Love it so far. Okay, the rest of my tree, I would like to just go over the lines. Now play around with your line thickness. Make some of it thicker, some of it thinner. The tree does not have to be all the same line thickness. I made the top of the DNA strand into a little spiral. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole thing. When I look at it in the screen, I realize I want to bring up this branch a little bit. And maybe a little side one coming out from here. There's one thing we didn't do yet, and that is the leaves. So the leaves are usually pointed on both sides, like little almonds. And let's give this tree of life some life with the leaves. Feel free to do these however you would like. You can paint them, you can use green or any colors. Red, orange, purple leaves. It's up to you. What season is it which season is your tree of life right now? Now it's starting to look more full with these leaves. The crow agrees with me. Monumentize. Now, in the white of this tree, when you're ready to add some Zentangle-like spirals, let's go. Just changing some of the line weights here of the white side, the Zentangle side. Realizing I didn't do the best job erasing all of this. There we go. Okay, we're almost there. So really the last step, well, I didn't finish the leaves on this side, but the last step is to, well, unless you want to keep going, be my guest, add whatever you would like, is to Zentangle, it's called, or I guess doodle spirals in the white parts of the tree. So just take the biggest part of the tree and do a little spiral as big as you want. I'm going to end mine right there. I'll zoom in a bit now so you can see this. And taking another spiral, I'm going to come sort of behind it and then over, and then behind the DNA strand and over and up like that. Put a little tiny one in here, bringing it over like that. I like the way they kind of overlap with each other a bit, so I'm going to keep doing that. That one really goes underneath. If you go behind the DNA strand, that's cool, but I would suggest maybe using a thinner pen depending on the thickness of your pen. I'm definitely going to switch the thickness of my pen for this little part. Ooh. There we go. I did most of my DNA strand with the solid black, so I only had to do that with the one little part. I'm making these middle parts a bit thicker so they stand out. We still have to shade the DNA strand and the tree, but we can do that at the end. Back to the original pen size. This one will kind of come maybe over top a little bit more. Maybe this one too. A little tiny one in the back there. This is the fun part, just being free with it. Not worrying so much. And the little spirals are fast. They can be. You don't have to do spirals all the way to the ends of the roots or the branches. You can also do these little, I'm going to do these little curved rainbowy lines down to the bottom. Like that. You see that? Almost looks like Dr. Seuss. A fun tree. Because what is life if not, what's worth living life if you don't have fun once in a while? And then I've got my roots done. Coming up here. I guess the dark side of the tree sort of reminds me of mystery, seriousness, emotions, challenges. And the spirals on the light side remind me of play and fun and dancing, love. What does this tree mean to you? Think about it. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to frame it? Put it up in your house? Are you going to give it to a loved one? Now my branches are getting fairly small, so I'm just doing tiny little 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, tiny little swirls throughout them. You can also do the rainbow bumps like we did on the bottom, which I probably will do in a minute. When I get closer to the edge of these branches. You can also do little circles. I'm ready to do the bumps. I think my tree keeps looking better and better each time I draw it. This is the 4th time I've drawn this tree now. Well, it's always different. I like them all. I like to see how different they all are. This one's only taken me 43 minutes so far. There we go. Okay, now if you have a pencil crayon that's black for shading, let's get that out. I know I have one somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, there it is, hiding. Mine's really small. I use this a lot, obviously. I'll zoom it out for you. Okay, now let's shade the DNA strand, going to shade very lightly underneath the one that comes over top there. Underneath, giving the DNA strand a little bit of definition here. Maybe a little bit darker at the bottom than the top. Thinking about the shadows. Something like that, although my sunshine is there coming this way. Whatever you would like to do. Use your imagination. There's no rules. This is art. Just giving it a little bit of shading, a little bit of something. Feel free to use gold or silver here. And I'll show you, we'll zoom in a little bit, show you what I'm doing with the DNA strand. See how I just added a little bit of shading throughout it? And smudge it a little bit. Yes, I like it. I'm also going to do the side of the tree in the white part. Obviously not the black. The roots. Not much, just to give it some definition. Maybe where the branches meet the trunk. Or where they break apart. Under the DNA strand. Where there would be a shadow. Because it sits over top. And you can also shade the leaves. I'm just going to shade the insides of them all. If you want your leaves to be touching the tree, that's fine. I didn't put mine touching, but I've seen others and they are touching and it looks amazing. This is just the way I like it. Great. I'm going to add maybe a little bit of shading in my sunshine. Smudge it a little bit. Double check. I think we're all good. Let me zoom out and you can have a look at the full thing. Ta-da! Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you want to show me your tree, I would love to see them. I have a website called artworkbykatia.com where there's links to the Facebook page where you can share your art and see other people's art on the website as well who have done this same class. And if you want to send me your picture, please email me at katiafirecat with a K, 2 Ks, katiafirecat@gmail.com. I believe you can send me messages through here too, or find me on the website. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.